Hi, everyone. This is Kathy Heckendorn with CAPE, New Mexico. We're going to be continuing our video series on getting started, and today we're actually going to cover choosing curriculum. Curriculum is the big question we get asked all the time. What curriculum should I choose? How should I do this, etc.? And honestly, my real true answer is it's just going to be different for everybody. Curriculum that I might have used isn't necessarily going to fit for everybody. So we're going to kind of walk through some different things to consider as you're choosing your curriculum. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. First thing is just to understand the lingo. There's a lot of information when you're looking at curriculum. They're going to be throwing out some of these words. So scope and sequence is just how much information are they going to cover and what will be the different methods that they're going to be using. Will it be projects, experiments, daily lessons, tests, etc.? Chronological order, the events as they happen. That's usually associated with literature, history, that type of thing. Topical, that's probably going to fit more with history. In other words, are you maybe going to, this particular history book is just going to cover the Middle Ages, or maybe it's just going to cover wars around the world or something like that. Spiral methodology, that's where concepts are repeated in an incremental way, and that's often used in math and grammar, so that each time you encounter a topic or an idea, you learn a little bit more. And then finally, the master methodology. That's where you're learning specific facts in order to utilize them in other lessons. And that's often with math and science, sometimes in history where you're needing to know specific dates. So that kind of gives you a little bit of information on the lingo that you're gonna come across. Then you've got the different curriculum styles. One of the most common and probably what a lot of us are used to is just traditional textbook. Some of the ones that are available for homeschooling would be Abeka, Bob Jones, Math UC, Apologia, teaching textbooks. And there are so many different textbooks, curriculum out there. If you just Google homeschool curriculum, oh my goodness, you just get pages and pages of different options. So you're going to be looking at possibly the traditional textbook. There might be a literature or classical approach. That might be some different companies such as Tapestry of Grace, Biblioplan, where you're going to be covering historical time periods, but then you're also going to pull literature into it, historical literature, just to kind of help things Velcro a little bit better for your students. Sunlight uses that. My Father's World, they use a lot of literature. Thomas Jefferson Education. Those are all things that use a lot of living historical literature. Then there's the unit studies. That might be Konos, Weaver, Heart of Wisdom, Tapestry of Grace is also a unit study. And that might be where maybe you have a child that's really interested in World War II, World War I, whatever. So you would utilize that interest in a particular war, and you're going to pull in their math using that unit study. You're going to pull in their literature, their grammar lessons, their writing lessons, all covering a specific idea or unit, maybe a time period or just a topic kind of thing. And then there's some correspondence and online studies that you can do. One of the biggest cautions on this is just to understand that just because it's online or it's correspondence, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a homeschool curriculum. It doesn't make that good or bad, but you just need to know, like K-12. K-12 is one in New Mexico, but that is actually public school at home. And so just understand whether this is really a homeschool curriculum if you're wanting to be completely homeschooled, or if you're comfortable using K-12 where it's public school at home with you doing it. Just understand and just look for information on whether it is a homeschool online study or if it is associated with the public school. And then there's the eclectic choice. And that's where you're just using a little bit of everything. And maybe you do a little bit of traditional textbook here. Maybe you're doing a little bit of unit study. Maybe you're taking the class online. You're just kind of doing a little bit of whatever fits for your family. So now, how do you choose? These are some things for you to consider. Number one, what is the worldview? Do you want to find a curriculum that has a biblical worldview? Are you looking for something with a secular worldview? That's something to consider. What are your goals for that particular child? Do they have some strengths that they need to just really take off in, or do they have some weaknesses that we really need to work on this? Maybe they have a particular creative interest. So if you have a child who really is excellent in writing and really pursuing that, maybe you're not really going to be looking for a curriculum that's just heavy duty on the calculus. So just kind of understand, what is it that you're wanting that particular child to accomplish during this next year? So looking at that as well. The learning style, that's kind of a big buzz phrase that's out there when we talk about curriculum. What is the learning style of your child? Are they an audio learner? Are they a visual learner? Are they a hands-on? I want to really stress on this, that you need to also understand what is the teacher's teaching style. What was your learning style? If you are a visual person and you have a child that is an auditory learner, you need to be really careful that if you pick a curriculum that's really aimed at that child, but you're struggling with it, there's going to be challenges in you trying to teach your child if it's just not something that is working for you as well as the child. So try to find something that you can enjoy teaching, as well as something that your child is going to enjoy learning from. So that's kind of a double whammy right there. The academic level. One of the beautiful things about homeschooling is you might have a child that excels in math, and maybe they're a grade ahead, 2 grades ahead, but they're really struggling with writing. Well, you can choose curriculum that brings them further along in the areas that they're strong in, while still pulling them along in those areas that they struggle in, without having it being just the 5th grade level. For example, I had one daughter that just did super well with writing, but math was a struggle for her. Well, we just let her take off with her writing skills, but then we picked math level, or a math curriculum that worked for her, but that was at the level that she needed, rather than just getting further and further behind with her math in order for her to keep up with her writing. Or it might be the other way around. Our son was really good in math, so he could just take off with math, but he struggled with writing. So we were able to really really make it very specific for him or for her where they were at with their academic level. A lot of curriculums, if you go to their website, Math-U-See is one. You can actually take assessment tests on their website so that you know right where that child needs to be. And just because they should be in the 4th grade level, they may test out on the assessment as being 5th grade math. Or maybe they're testing at 3rd grade math. Well, go ahead and take this opportunity with homeschooling to really hone in on where they're at and bring them up to where you want them to be. Budget friendly. Boy, one child is not that expensive to homeschool. You start adding 2, 3, 4, or more, and all of a sudden you can be spending thousands of dollars on homeschooling. So it is okay to look for something that fits within your budget. There are lots of free online different types of things, handouts, things like that you can print. There are lots of books that you can get on Amazon. I've even seen them at Costco, especially for the early years, that are just tear out pages that are very inexpensive. The ERC is a great resource for curriculum. It's called the Education Resource Center. And if you become a member of ERC, and I want to say it's $25 or less for a year, it may be $20, $15. But for a membership with ERC, you can actually check out curriculum for the year. So you can go and look at a variety of different curriculum, touch it, see the different subjects, see the different grade levels, and then you can check it out for a year. It's just basically a lending library. If you're going with a more eclectic, maybe you want to do unit studies, utilize the library and just find books and things like that. There's a lot available there. used curriculum, a lot of used curriculum out there. If you just get on Facebook, Google used homeschool curriculum, you'll find a lot of different options there as well. What are the family dynamics? Suppose you have a child with special needs and you need to spend more time with that particular child, you need to choose a curriculum for your other children that is not going to require lots of hands-on from mom. And there's lots of different things out there. There are curriculums such as Sunlight, where you're going to be doing a lot of reading with your children, to your children, especially in the younger grades, until their reading skills increase. That if you don't have the time to sit down and do that with them, then maybe that wouldn't be the best curriculum for you for right now. So consider what all of the family dynamics are. Right now, with everything going on with the situation in our state, you may be working. You're homeschooling your children at the dining room table while you're working in the office. So you want to look for some curriculum that is going to allow you to continue doing your job at home while still giving them a good education. So just consider that as well, what the amount of preparation or hands-on from the teacher is. Child's interests. What are the things that they're interested in? My husband used to say all the time that we remember the most when we're interested in a particular topic. Now, that doesn't mean that we only can pick a curriculum based on what our kids' interests are. Otherwise, it might be something like Pokemon or Mario Kart. But I understand that we still have to teach math, grammar, and maybe your child isn't interested in that. Well, you still have to do it, but whenever possible, look for curriculum that will pull in their interests. I had a child that was very interested in wars. So we picked a lot of different books, literature, things like that, that dealt with the type of thing that he was interested in. We did a lot of math, looking at figuring mileage on an airplane or speed of an airplane. How much space could they cover? Just try to find some things based on their interests. And then visit with your friends, especially if you have friends that have children very similar to your own children. Ask them what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. We have a lot of resources out there with Facebook. Just ask, just put out a question. Basically, I have a child that struggles with fill in the blank. What would be a curriculum that doesn't have a lot of that? Or my child hates boring multiple choice questions. Just understand what your child enjoys, what you enjoy, what you're not going to be bored with, and then just put some feelers out with different friends that have been homeschooling. Some great resources out there. The first one here is KathyDuffyReviews.com. She has got a lot of different reviews on her website of different curriculum that's out there. I highly recommend that you go there. If you'll go to the CAPE website, we've got a list of different type of curriculums with links back to the websites for those particular books. And then we also have different people that have come to the conventions in the past on our exhibit hall page. And if you look at those, they'll also kind of give you some ideas of maybe some companies that you haven't heard of. So those would be a really great resource. And most importantly, remember, you aren't stuck with any one thing. You may find that come the end of September, you realize, oh, this was not the best curriculum and I'm struggling. Well, it may be time to just box it up, sell it, and look for something else. And that is okay. I think one particular child, we ended up going through 3 different math curriculums till we found something that worked for them, worked for mom, that we could do so that she could improve her skills in math. So don't hesitate to just say this isn't working and try something else. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of information. I know that everybody is really, really nervous about what curriculum, and it's easy for us to think that if we pick the wrong curriculum, our child isn't going to learn anything. But trust me, that you may have some bumps in the road, but you're going to have some bumps no matter what curriculum you choose. So don't look at this as being, we've got to pick the right curriculum, and if we mess up, oh, the whole year is going to be ruined. There is opportunity to try something, maybe exchange something with another friend, maybe even get together with a friend and say, I'm really struggling, this child is struggling. Can we do some things together that would help my child, your child, that type of thing? And we're going to talk some more about that in one of the upcoming videos on preparing and homeschool killers. So thank you again for joining us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at Cape. Wrong email address, info@cape-nm.org, or feel free to comment here on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll look forward to giving answers as best we can and make it a great year.